Hey, I'm Jon Gordon with Positive University, and today my guest is Anthony Rizzo. Anthony, how you doing?
I'm doing well, John. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Nah, it's great to see you. So tell me, when you were young, was it your dream to be a professional baseball player? And also, where did you grow up?
I grew up in South Florida. I grew up in Parkland, Florida. And it was always my dream, but I was always a realist. So when my dad would tell me or my mom would tell me, hey, you're going to really make it one day, when I was in Little League and growing up, I was like, no, I'm not, Mom and Dad. You guys always say that. All parents say that to their kids. Like, stop saying that to me. So, but they always encouraged me and they always allowed me to play the game I loved in all sports growing up.
Were you better than most of the kids at that age?
At some points, yes. And then when I got into high school, I would say I was pretty good, but I wasn't like the top dog on my team by any means. We went to a pretty elite high school when it came to baseball at Stoneman Douglas. So we were always in contention every single year. But and then when I got drafted, there was no way I was the best because everyone's so talented in the minor leagues that you really just got to outshine them in different ways.
So you mentioned Stoneman Douglas. Let's talk about that for a second because we can't talk about Stoneman without talking about the shooting that happened. I know that you were very involved after that. Can you just talk about what you did and what that was like going there? So
Douglas was, it's my home. This is where I grew up. This is where I've gotten in trouble at Stoneman Douglas. I've learned to become a man there. Between the ages of 16 to like 21, in my opinion, are the most important ages in young teenagers, young adults' lives, because you can go any direction. You go left or right, which direction you need to go as an adult. So to be able to come back and talk to the kids, this community has rallied so hard, and being back here now in the off season, I just see how everyone has just tackled this head on and is taking it in a positive way, and it's crazy to even say.
Yeah. Well, I just know you've given back so much, and I just think it's incredible what you've done there. And you haven't forgotten your roots, which is really great. Talk to us about being a high school player. Did you have any expectations that you could play professional ball at that time?
My freshman and sophomore year, I played football and I played baseball. My brother played football. My brother kind of set the way for me in high school, actually my whole life. He's 2 years older than me, so I was coming in as the little Rizzo, and I played football and baseball my freshman, sophomore year. I got hurt in football a little bit, so I just said, hey, I'm just going to play baseball. And then my junior year is when I'm kind of a late bloomer when it came to the whole baseball, because now it's the kids start in middle school with the travel ball and the showcases. I didn't showcases until my junior year and senior year, so my junior year I started getting scouted a little bit, and my senior year is when I really kind of blew up a little bit and made a name for myself. And so you went right into the pros, right away? Right into the pros. I was telling my friends I had a good job opportunity out of high school because they all went to Florida State for the most part, but right into the minor leagues, and that was a grind in itself. But it's, those, like I said, I was 17, 18, and shaped, the best years of my life. And what was that experience like, being 18 years old, being in the minor leagues, away from your family, playing with professionals? Well, it was insane because I grew up in South Florida, and, I've learned now 10, 11 years later that the demographic all over the country is so much different. You don't know that as a kid when you're just from one part of the country. So when I was in Greenville, South Carolina, was my first stop of professional baseball. And I was at the convenience store talking to a lady, and the lady started talking back to me, and she was like, nice. I was like, I can't believe you're nice, because people where I'm from don't do this at the gas station. So I learned real quick that everyone is so different everywhere you go. That's really cool. And when did you start having some health challenges? What age were you experiencing those? So that was when I was 18. That was actually my first full season, and I made the team that I wanted to, which was a huge accomplishment at the time. And the season started in April. It was May, 18 years old. I got drafted by the Boston Red Sox. I made the team I wanted. I was hitting like 380 at the time, which is great. And all of a sudden, boom, you get hit with this news. It was like just out of left field, honestly. And it was insane. And so what happened after that? So I was in South Carolina. The doctors, I was with the Red Sox world-class organization. They flew us up to Boston Mass General, saw the doctors up there. They put us in like a beautiful suite in the hospital. And anyone who's been in the hospital knows that hospital rooms are not nice. Well, this one was like pristine. So with a beautiful view, we were there for about a week. Originally it was my kidney had an infection. And while they were doing the biopsy on the kidney, just to confirm the kidney infection, the doctors actually saw that my lymph nodes were swollen the size of tennis balls. We ran tests with that, and they came in and explained to us what was about to go on for the next 6 to 8 months.
So what did you have to go through for the next 6 to 8 months?
So the doctors came in. They told me, it was me and my mom. My mom flew up. I was like, why are you flying up? It's just they're going to give me antibiotics for my kidney, but I guess moms know best. And they explained to us basically they had to go through chemotherapy. Like I said, I had no idea what chemo was. I thought chemo was a type of cancer. And they just said, you're going to have to get treatment on Tuesdays or Wednesdays every other week. And this is kind of how the treatments go from people who've experienced in the past. The first couple of days, you're going to feel really nauseous. From like 3 to 5 days after the treatment, you're going to feel awful. And then you'll start gradually getting better, and then you got to get another treatment. And they kind of explained how the medicine worked, and I was like, let's go. And we just said, when can we start? We started the next day, and thankfully 6 months later, I was in remission.
Wow. But what was the prognosis like when you first found out?
Well, it was like a bomb just got dropped on me. Like I said, I was 18. I'm on top of the world. I was invincible. I was on my way to the big leagues, and boom, you have cancer. You can't play anymore. And that's the first time as a kid or an adult where I really had something that I loved taken away from me. And it's like, wow, watching ESPN or watching baseball just that summer, because I was home for the summer, it was hard to do because I wanted to be out there so much doing it. But at the same time, I knew I was going to go back out there, but I just couldn't at that moment.
So when you were going through treatment, you were optimistic that you would be healthy again? You saw yourself playing again?
Right away. There was never, those little doubts of what if I don't make it? What if I do, this cancer does spread? But those were in and out faster than I can remember. I think it's human to have that self-doubt at anything, but yeah, as fast as those thoughts came in, I was kicking them out and staying, being a positive warrior. And
I love the shirt, by the way.
Thank you. And my parents were great. My support system was great. That whenever I needed anything, they were right there for me.
How hard was it you to regain your strength, and how long did that take?
That was a mission in itself. When I was going through the treatments, my doctor said, don't go in the sun, don't go out, don't do this and that. And John Lester, a pitcher for us, also had cancer. And his biggest words of encouragement to me, and which I pass on to kids that I speak to, is when you feel good from this sickness, go out and do what you normally do. So, of course, I went out. I would go to the beach when I was feeling good, but I would wear 100 proof sunscreen. I'd wear long sleeves. I'd put a hat on, but I would still do the things I would do. And then after getting back into shape, it was really tough and weird. My joints all felt like glass because I haven't done anything for 6 months, and you had this chemo going through your body. So it took a solid 3-4 months to really get back going to feeling good. And then I would say a good 6 months to get like strong and feeling where I was at before.
And so now fast forward, you get healthy, you feel strong. What were you just fired up and determined to just make it back and then play in the major leagues?
Yeah, that was always my goal. When it started becoming a reality in high school, I was able to get drafted. That was the goal. There was, man on a mission, do whatever it took, work hard, do all the cliches of work hard, be the first to get there, last to leave. But it's like just that inner determination of getting to where you want to be. That's what I feel like I've always been.
So you have incredible size. You have incredible talent. so you have all the physical ability, but what separates you from someone who, isn't able to make it or wants to make it in the major leagues, but perhaps they're not? What's the key to your success?
So I was a 6th-round draft pick, and I saw a lot of other guys get picked in front of me, behind me, in the 50th round of the draft that were way better than me. So, and I also saw guys that weren't better than me, that guys that didn't have near as my talent, but they had between the ears. And that's what this game's all about. I really feel like the guys I go out with and play with every day in the major leagues are way better than me talent-wise. It's just all about, staying ahead of that curve of staying ahead of the pitcher, staying ahead of what that hitter is going to do, the situations that is at hand, and being prepared for it.
So how do you stay positive to the ups and downs of being a Major League Baseball player? Because I always hear it's a game of failure. It's a game of failure. How do you stay positive through all the failures?
Well, it definitely is a game of failure, right? So, let's see. I tell the guys I hit rock bottom at least 10 times a year personally, on a personal level, where I just feel like I'm never going to be able to hit a baseball again, where nothing's going to go right. So when I'm in those moments, it's kind of like a sick, demented mentality I have, but I kind of laugh and like embrace them because that's what I play for. Anyone could just go to the major leagues, and if it's easy, you're going to be happy all the time. Everyone's going to love you more. Everyone's going to pamper you more because you're the best and make it look easy. But when the dark times come and you're not the best, where's your character going to be at that level? So it's about controlling that when you're on the lows and when you're on the highs, if you're walking around like you're, Randy Savage, and then you're on the lows and you're walking around like you have no idea what's going on, you can't really be respected as much.
And what do you tell the rookies? What do you tell high school players? What do you tell college players who want to be their best, who are struggling? What advice do you give them to stay positive?
Well, my whole thing is I've been doing this my whole life, playing baseball. It's what I've always loved and what I've always enjoyed. I've never been forced to play. So when I'm in a really bad rut, I continually tell myself, I've done this my entire life. There's no way at the age of 25, 26, 27, 28, I just forgot how to hit a baseball. There's no way. There's no way these pitchers are that good, and the pitchers are very good, but they have to throw the ball in a certain area. So there's no way I just forgot how to hit that ball. So during that time of struggle, I always just latch on to the short-term things of, okay, am I doing my routine the right way? Is everything locked in the right way? Am I putting in the effort every day to have success, or am I just going through the motions to have success? And if I'm going through it every day, prepared with intent to have success, then at the end of the day, if I don't get any hits and I strike out 4 times, I'm personally pissed off, but I can't be that mad because I went through all the steps to get to that position.
How can you focus on getting better every day at your level? Because, being around a lot of locker rooms like I have, a lot of meeting rooms, a lot of teams, you see guys that are there, and even though they're at the highest level, some really are going through the motions. They're not looking at it as a craft. So how do you see this as a craft, and how do you become a craftsman in what you do?
No doubt. It's very easy every day, especially getting 162 games. We have about 45 days of spring training to just show up and go through the motions. I think that's when you really have to lock in on your routine. I'm a very outgoing, joking around, funny guy, I feel like, in the clubhouse, and I'm always messing around with guys. But when it does come time to work, I don't care if you're working for 3 minutes or you're working for an hour. If you're working for 3 minutes and you're focused and locked in and you get what you need is enough, that's just as good, in my opinion, than working for an hour. And just because you took 20 times the amount of ground balls doesn't mean you got more work in than someone. You just maybe, it's all the mentality, in my opinion.
How important is it to be a great teammate at your level or at any level? And what are just a few tips that people listening could actually do to be a better teammate? I know younger people are going to be listening to this. How can we inspire them to be better teammates?
So I had the great opportunity to work with the Dr. Ken Ravizza is a sports psychologist, kind of a pioneer in the game, who just passed away.
Yep.
I got to work with him for the last 4 years, and just speaking to him and him understanding the lifestyle that comes with being a Major League Baseball player, that, when you're on a team and you're not hitting well, everyone's looking at you and not playing well. Why are you not playing well? You're getting questions from friends. You're getting questions from family, the media, the coaches. It's a whole spiral effect. Your teammates. So when you're not playing well, if you could somehow contribute, if I have a bad game and we win, you go cheer the boys on, because that's what it's all about, because they're going to pick you up. They picked you up. And when someone else has a bad game, you expect that from them as well, to just come in and be normal, because the ebb and flow of the season, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have peaks and valleys. It's really about just staying even keeled.
So stay even keeled, to find some way to contribute as a team member. And even if you're not playing your best, then just still stay positive and encourage others then.
I'm a big believer in that, because if you're going to, live and die on every single at bat, which it's not hard to do. It really is. It's easy to live and die on every at bat, but it's such a long season that, if one game goes by and you don't have a good game, a week's going to go by where you're not going to have a good week. You still have to show up and be there for the other guys, because those guys are counting on you, and they know that you're going to step up in a big situation. And if you don't, and you did everything that you can to be prepared for it, then there's really nothing you can hang your head on it. It's obviously easier said than done, but it takes a lot of practice.
I love that. So I love to do a thing called the Triple H: hero, hardship, and highlight. Who is one of your heroes?
Definitely my brother. He set the way for me my whole life, being 2 years older. He set the way through high school. He's guided me through the minor leagues, through the big leagues. I can go to him for everything. I mean, besides my parents, but definitely my brother.
Does he play now?
He does not. He played football in college, but that was the last of his days.
Awesome. Yeah, my brother's about 3 years older than me, so
nice.
Were you the gritty younger brother? Because I think I was the grittier younger brother. He was more of leader, always looking out for me, and I seemed like I was like the young fighter.
Same exact thing. I was the younger, get in trouble. Not as much, not really trouble, but just the annoying brother that would always be pushing.
That's great. I think I know what your hardship was, but what is a hardship you faced that made you who you are today? Is it the cancer that you faced? Definitely the cancer. And then if you want to pair that with my first year in San Diego, I get over the cancer at 18. My goal was to be in the big leagues by 21. And I reached that goal, and I'm on top of another mountain, and I overcome cancer. And I'm back to playing baseball, and I get hit in the face with reality again, because I get called up to the major leagues, and I absolutely tanked. I was awful. I hit like $130 in like 150 plate appearances, and I got sent back down to AAA, and that was a very hard and trying time, because my dream my whole life was to play Major League Baseball, and I got there and I wasn't playing well. So, and I knew I could compete at this level, at a very high level, and something wasn't working. So that was definitely a trying time in my career, where it was like, wow, this is, because everything comes easy to a certain point, and it didn't come easy then. And this is Positive University. So how did you overcome that? Well, I think, honestly, the biggest thing for me that year was rest. When things get spiraling out of control, it's so hard to slow down in a moment, that when you could just take a couple steps back and reflect on what actually just happened, I think that's so powerful to be able to look back and be like, okay, oh, that's why this was happening. But sometimes in the moment, you're like, you just can't realize it. And over the years of experience now, I've been able to dissect things more and more as they're happening, instead of having to wait for so much rest. But to be able to go into the off season and relax and kind of just like take all the weight off of my shoulders of not performing well, and then getting a fresh start next year. I actually got traded that winter to the Cubs, which I think was the best thing for me. And to be able to just have a restart of that year, every year is a restart. It doesn't matter what you did the year before, it's time to do it again. And that's what really helped me. What changed when you went to the Cubs? How did you get uplifted there, and how did your career start to take off with the Cubs? Well, I started the year in AAA there, which I knew I was going to. So I was able to go and just get my feet wet again and play baseball and start hitting the ball well again. Because, I went for 4, 5, 6 months of pretty ticked off that I wasn't hitting the ball well. So got my feet well, and then
confidence. My confidence got back up. It never really went down because I knew I could play at this level. It was just some adjustments I had to make with my mechanically with my swing at that time, because right now I'm not very mechanical at all. It's more mental. But it was really that, a couple mechanical things and a couple mindset things that just, I think, started to help me take off.
And then you're with the Cubs, and we're going to go to highlight. I think I know what your highlight is, but can you talk about your highlight, and was it winning a World Series?
Absolutely. You know, it's well, I have two highlights. I have my career, which is the World Series, and then another highlight is my giving back the foundation to kids. I mean, I always say to be able to play baseball is amazing. We won a World Series in 2016, which is my best baseball accomplishment ever. But to be able to raise money for pediatric cancer and give back to kids and families is something I'll never be able to, you know, express enough that how grateful I am to be able to do that.
Yeah, talk about your foundation. Talk about your foundation. Talk about what you do for pediatric cancer. I just think this is incredible what you do.
So we have our foundation. Basically, we do a variety of things. We donate to a lot of cancer research. We donate to families directly. We pay their bills. I'm so fortunate that the Red Sox paid for all of my bills going through treatment. I mean, that's a first-class organization, like I said. But if my parents had to be hit with those bills at that time, there's no way they would have been able to make it. So these medical bills really stack up. So we really help a lot with families paying bills, giving them grants. We send a lot of families on trips just to get their minds off of what's going on. We have social workers that work in the hospitals that, like for me, the social worker came in and explained every single thing that it's going to happen with the chemo and the treatments and how other people felt and if I needed to talk to other people. And we have those at our side. So and the events we do just to go to the hospitals and we have a lot of kids out at the field. It really is something that's really special to me. Just I've been through it, and unfortunately, I think everyone that's going to listen to this and everyone that they know knows someone that has dealt with cancer.
And talk about your foundation, the events that you have. How many events do you have a year, and what do those events do?
So we have 3 a year. This past year, I want to say we raised over $2 or $3 million alone.
Wow.
Very grateful for the following that we have. And we do a walk, a 5K charity walk here in Parkland. And we do 2 events in Chicago. We do a laugh off, which is a comedy event in the wintertime. And then we do a cook off during the season. And I'm very lucky. All my teammates come out and they support it. And it's usually a really good time for guys to just relax and kick back.
How can people find out about your foundation, about the events?
You go to rizzo44.com and all the info is always on there. It's constantly updated. But yeah, that's something that's very, very dear to my heart. But obviously the championship is something that I'll never be able to relive again. I don't care if we do it 4 more, 5 more times, but breaking a curse in Chicago was something I'll never forget.
Yeah, what was that feeling like? Can you describe it as much as that feeling can be described?
Yeah, it said it in Game 7. I was kind of joking around with David Ross, and I was just like, I'm in a glass case of emotion right now because of the ups and downs of the playoffs and the season and the series. It was just like, it's just so, you're so in the moment that it's like an incredible high that it's just to equal that. I mean, it's crazy. It's I want to do it again so bad. Just to get back to that level because it's where you want to be. It's what you work for as a kid. So when you're in that moment, I definitely, at least once a game, I'm looking around like, wow, I'm in the World Series right now. Like this is the mecca of where I want to be. And then to win it was just, it was crazy. It's crazy.
I love that. I know that you're a leader for many. You're a leader in your clubhouse. David Ross was probably one of the leaders in your clubhouse. What was it like to have his influence, and how did he influence you?
He was exactly what the Cubs needed coming into. We signed him in 2015, and we actually had the same agent. So we had lunch one day. We were in the same town, and I said to Mark, my agent, I was like, man, he is exactly what the Chicago Cubs need to get us over the hump, because we were a very young and talented team, but we were not good. We had every reason to be good. We just didn't flip that switch yet. So he comes in and just every single day, I really want to be more like him. He just the little things of him saying hello to everyone. He brings the energy up from a room that's at 7 or 8 to 12 immediately by him walking in his presence, just by saying hello. The way he says hello, it's crazy. And the way he held everyone accountable throughout the year, and the way he went about his business, it was hard to ever question him because the way he portrayed things, the guys, I would go to him all the time and I'd be like, hey, why this, why that? Just because I know I can get a straightforward answer from him. And the way he would explain it to me, I was like, oh, okay. And I would walk away scratching my head like, yeah, he's right. Wow. So he really kind of changed me into the way I started thinking like, wow, it's, wow, this really is the way, like, instead of thinking the one way, the bad way, he thinks this total positive way. And it pays off on everyone else.
Awesome. So what are you excited about going forward? What's next? What are you looking forward to?
I am looking forward to just the everyday grind again. I know we had a short season this year, not being in the playoffs, making a good run in the playoffs. So had an extra month to reflect, and it's mid-December or kind of late December now, and I've never really been scratching to get back on the field, and now I'm ready to get back. So to go in and just start being, bringing that energy up every single day, no matter where I am, just making sure everyone's on the same page of just, in life is a grind, I always say. It doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing. You could be, if you're with the same people for, 5 months out of the year, every single day, you're going to start getting sick of those people. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care where you are. You could be in paradise, whatever your paradise is, you're going to get sick of people at some point. So it's all about coming together for that one common goal. And that one common goal for us is win the World Series.
So what's your word for 2019? Do you have a one word yet that's going to drive you?
I do. It's connection. For me, I'm getting married here in a few days. So with my wife, Emily. So I want to be connected to her at all times with what's going on. I don't ever want to lose connection with her. I don't want to ever lose connection with my teammates, with my family members. And in baseball, if you're connected on your swing, everything's usually going well. So I feel like that's a great word for me this year. And I really want to stick with it and make sure, I don't know if it's going to be on a weekly basis or a daily basis, but am I being connected at this moment in time?
That's awesome. So any last piece of advice you just want to share with someone listening, something that we haven't talked about, someone who is young and listening to this, or just something that could benefit people listening?
Let's see. Big phrases. There's never any traffic if you go the extra mile. There's never really, it's cliche, but you put in the extra work with intent and with purpose. I think that anything you do in life, if you love it, you're going to have a positive outcome. And when you're having those moments, those great moments, make sure you enjoy them, because like that, I'm sure, John, like that, they're gone. I'm playing baseball for 11, 12 years now. And it's like, I just got drafted 2 years ago. So every moment I get when I have fun, I was just celebrating a bachelor party with my friends, and we were out and we were having a great time. And I took a couple steps back. I'm like, man, this is awesome. I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
What drives you every day to be thinking about the World Series, to be thinking about doing great work for pediatric cancer, to be the great human being you are? And you wouldn't say that, but I know you are. What drives you to be your best and to bring out the best in others? Where does that come from? What is that purpose?
I think it's the way I was raised. My parents, they have always put others first, as far as being nice to people. And then what drives me, it's just the competition. I love competing. And I think most athletes, that'll be their common answer, is they love competing. But, I can go out and compete and be great every single day, and that's not good enough. You need everyone to be great. So getting everyone to come together is really the biggest. You wrote about this, the biggest accomplishment. You've seen great, the most talented teams really don't ever win. It's the best team that wins. And that continues to show year in and year out on sports, that the teams that really hold on to something and are playing for something, it's so powerful.
I have to just ask this one thing because it came to me when you were talking. You love competing, and the people at your level, they love competing. But there's those moments where the game's on the line, it's the World Series, and they have the chance to compete, but then they really don't want to be in that moment because they worry about the outcome. How, in those moments, you just allow that love of the competition to just drive you to be your best, where you're not worried about the outcome, but you're just focused on that moment and competing in that moment?
Yeah, of course. And like, we're all natural, right? You're obviously going to have that little man on your shoulder that's saying, don't mess up, right? And it's how do you overcome that? And you got to have your routine. You got to trust your process. You got to trust everything you've ever done in that moment, why you're in that. There's a reason you're in that moment. And if you go in there confident that you're going to get the job done and you don't get the job done, you can't really hang your head. I mean, as a competitor, you're super upset. You want to be the guy, but if you go up there wanting to be the hero, you're going to walk away the GOAT, in my opinion. You have to go up there just competing and staying in the moment, because if you go up there in Game 7 of the World Series saying, oh, I gotta hit a home run, I have to be the hero here, you're going to, in my opinion, you're going to mess up, and that's just not the formula for success.
I love it. Anthony Rizzo, thanks for making me better today. Thanks for making so many people better today. I really appreciate you and all the work that you do in pediatric cancer and really just changing lives and impacting so many families and people. So thanks for all the work you do.
Appreciate it.